Good afternoon, everyone. It's Lawrence here from the Australian Trade Logistics Corporation. Thank you for joining us for this really great webinar. We've got a fantastic lineup of speakers today for you to talk all around trade modernisation and how we can give you some tips, advice, and some insights about what's on, not just currently in the market, but also on the horizon as well, and how we can help try to use technology and all these new innovations to try and streamline your business and improve the efficiency and profitability of your international trade business. So today's format, we're going to have the 5 presenters talk to you for about 10 minutes each. We'll have a Q&A session that we'll ask everyone to allow to wait till the end so that each speaker has got the allocated time. If you do have questions, you're more than happy for you to send them through on the Q&A platform via Zoom here. This webinar is being recorded, so we will be able to make that available to you later as well via the ATLC YouTube channel. So as a resource, you can refer back to it and also refer back to the contact details of all of our presenters as well, so that they can help you on a one-on-one situation. So we're really looking forward to a great event. As I mentioned, we'll kick off with the whole background and purpose. So the background and purpose is everything that we're going through at the moment, not just here in Australia around COVID-19, but globally supply chains have been absolutely stretched to the max. But in a good way, it's forced companies to look at how they can do things better, how they can leverage technology to do things where people can't come into the warehouse or the office, or how if they need to work remotely, how they can do that in a right way that supports their business and supply chain goals. So today's event is designed around that to give you the opportunity to look at a whole range of capabilities that should be able to help your business not only navigate the COVID-19 pandemic and the global supply chain stretch, but as we move forward and evolve post this situation to make it even more profitable. So without further ado, we are going to kick off with a quick roundtable introduction, I should say, with each of our speakers. So in the studio with me here is Ben from Madison Technologies. So Ben, I'll ask you to do a quick intro.
Yes, I'm Ben. I work with Madison Technologies. Yes, mainly with communication industry, IoT of things, or the industry, Internet of Things. Things are getting connected, and everything moving from 3G now to 5G in industrial networking. Yeah, there's a lot of really good opportunities to expand your capabilities of warehousing or any other bits and pieces. So look forward to it.
Great. Thanks, Ben. And I'll just ask you to introduce yourself as well. Manish and Tejas from Impexdocs.
Hi, I'm Manish Desai, founder CEO of Impexdocs. Impexdocs helps you to streamline the export operations of a company. I have around 30 plus years of experience in exports, logistics, and supply chain management.
Hi everybody, this is Tejas Souza and I'm the Chief Marketing Officer of Impexdocs, and I have more than 25 years of experience in exports, supply chain and digital transformation. Thank you.
Thanks, Tejas. And Hubert, can I ask you to introduce yourself?
Hi, this is Hubert from Sydney. I'm the co-founder and executive director of UCot. We have been focusing on blockchain for the past 3 years, and we focus on the supply chain and the logistics. So this time I will share my story to you. Thank you.
Thanks, Hubert. And last but definitely not least, Greg Carrington from Dematic.
Hi, I'm Greg Carrington. I'm the Product and Solutions Development Manager for Asia Pacific and China for mobile automation. Obviously for Dematic, which is one of the largest warehousing automation companies globally.
Fantastic. Thank you all for joining me today, and looking forward to all of your presentations. So without further ado, we're going to hand over to Manish and Tejas to kick off the webinar and talk about the important starting point of making sure that you're streamlining your documentation and processes. Really important as companies now, especially in Victoria, are forced to work remotely again, and their workforce is being scattered across many areas. So we're going to go on to, we'll mute ourselves and go off the screen, and we're going to hand over to Manish and Tejas to do the next presentation. So we'll see you in about 10 minutes.
Okay, I'll just kick off. Tejas, you can share the screen. So I'd like to give you a brief overview about Impexdocs. We know a few things about compliance and documentation and logistics. And I'm just trying to give you an overview of where this comes from. Today, I'm going to talk more about how you can execute and automate your export process to improve compliance, reduce transaction costs, and minimize errors. A few notes about Impexdocs. Impexdocs has been in business for 15 plus years. Impexdocs provides a cloud-based solution for streamlining the export operations of a company with order management, logistics, compliance, and documentation all driven through a single cloud-based solution. In addition to that, we also have consulting and a managed services option. Around 650 plus clients in Australia use our solutions. If you collectively look at an annual basis, around $125 billion of goods are transacted to our platform, and the clients export to around 135 countries. Some of the notable names in the Australian export sector are our clients, and this gives us a very good understanding of the challenges they face, and also we get to know very well some of the issues and resolutions they arrive at with respect to the supply chain logistics processes. I want to take an example of one single compliance step called export declarations, which is a message sent to Australian customs for any goods leaving Australia. One of the recent studies have found that close to around 40% errors in an export declaration process. There are errors in tariff classification of goods, FOB values, quantities, weights, consignee details. Getting this wrong can result in an exporter losing their trusted status. Next slide, Tejas. Getting this wrong can lead to you losing the trusted trader status, a customer dissatisfaction. It can slow down your payments, and the exporter is also liable for financial penalties. And the penalties can range right from seizure of goods to paying 3 times the value of goods for just getting this wrong. And this exactly is the challenge which some of our clients face on getting the compliance wrong. Yeah. You can budget for technology and training, but you cannot budget for an enforcement action. And some of these things are very important when you're transacting cross-border. Compliance requires to be right, and documentation and shipping are the other parts which require to fall in place.
Thanks, Manish. So I guess the focus, there are technology solutions available to help in the compliance and making sure that errors are reduced. And I'm going to talk about the current state of efficiency when it comes to export documentation. So if you are associated with exports per shipment on an average, you would know that approximately you deal with 40 documents, which has about 200 data elements in those 40 documents, and 30 out of 40 documents have repeating 30 data elements. So what you see here is significant chance of errors and getting things wrong because of this manual processes if you're not using technology effectively. Now, because of this manual, time-consuming, inefficient process, generally, on an average, it takes your staff to complete the work approximately between 3 and 4 hours per shipment on an average. So when you're not using technology, such as export management systems, which we recommend, and we have a solution in that as well, which is there is a high risk of high cost and of non-compliance. So what does it mean in terms of dollars? So this is what it means. Approximately if you have 20 shipments per month, the staff uses up time roughly worth 42K. If you have 100 shipments per month, cost explodes to 210K per year. But the good news is that this time can be reduced and cost can be reduced, the transactional costs by a 64%, time by 81% and cost by 64% by using appropriate export management tools. Now, the hidden cost of transactions. So as I was mentioning before, the 42K and 210K can drop significantly by 64%. And this is a representation in dollars. So it makes total sense to consider moving to appropriate tools which are available. Now, if you see this example, before and after technology. So if you are not using appropriate technologies for export management, you can see that before you are dealing with individual entities separately, with manual and time consuming processes, which typically amounts to delays, errors, and sometimes confusion. And once you have appropriate use of technology, so that there are technologies available which which converts all this confusion and dealing with separate parties into one-stop shop. And what you see here is exporter from 4 hours, it drops to 45 minutes because of the automation and the functionality the kind of tools have. And the shipment from becoming delayed shipments, it becomes faster, cleaner, and the processing also becomes much faster, and compliance improves dramatically. So this is a couple of sample examples of how some of the companies are able to use such tools, which and we have helped them. One of the companies, Endeavor Meats, they have been able to drop their cost on systems and processing costs by 75% by using technology effectively. And another major Australian agricultural exporter have been able to drop their transactional cost by 61%. So we do recommend using appropriate tools. Technology is there now for exporters, and it is being adopted in a fast manner. Currently, in the current conditions, where compliance is minutely observed, and we have had some recent examples in China, some of the others, as you would know. There are opportunities to use and leverage technology effectively, and we recommend that. Thank you. Lawrence?
Thanks, Manish and Tejas. That's great to have that important start to the webinar, because as we all know, in the international trade, the documentation is one of the first challenges to really make sure that you get all that accuracy through and do all your things right from the outset. And then as it flows to the supply chain, if there's one problem at the start, it actually dominoes and creates more and more problems as bigger as we keep going. So the next presentation is really important around the warehouse optimization, and especially around the rapid increase and the necessary increase in e-commerce, and how companies have been grappling to try and jump on that e-commerce journey and make sure they can get up to speed as quickly as possible. So without further ado, we're going to hand over to yourself, Greg, and we'll ask you to share screens and to go on with the Dematic presentation. Greg, I think you might just go and give feedback.
There we go. Can we see that?
Yep, we've got you on now.
Okay. So as Lawrence said, we've decided to focus on a very specific part of the micro-fulfillment category, which is essentially around where we're seeing improvements or changes within grocery micro-fulfillment. Generally what we see, just as an overview, as traditional retail and grocery fulfillment strategies struggle to keep pace with growth in the digital segment, micro-fulfillment solutions are finding a sustainable and a profitable way to address automated order fulfillment and delivery in that economy. In specific, we'll talk about what the different segments of that automation might be, and why the concept of micro-fulfillment helps in that sphere. Just looking at mega trends, I guess we categorize these as 5 major changes within society. We're seeing globalization on a scale we've never seen before. People are able to access products and informations in a wider range of location. We're seeing urbanization of population, digitalization of information, significant impacts coming from climate change, resource scarcity, driving difficulties sometimes with product, and then just general demographic and social change in particular as the broader populace globally become somewhat more affluent. What trends are we seeing globally in grocery? We're seeing store digitalization, so much more information, much more access to data, and ability to use that within a store. The growth in online grocery, in particular the embracing of the home delivery type concepts. An increase in ready-to-eat, in meal kitting, people wanting food pre-prepared or partially pre-prepared. Wellness, the convergence of that with for health and food. The people are looking for healthier options and healthier options that are readily available. We're seeing a significant focus on waste reduction, and both in store and out. And as I guess a byproduct of some of these, also then smart farming with that's quite a sophisticated way of looking at it there. Probably it's not all that advanced, but you know, some of it also in respect to people wanting more localized product, more freshly available product, that sort of thing. Just a bit of an overview of the retail landscape in particular, with a view towards e-commerce and the growth of that, the trends we see towards 2023 and beyond is an increase in growth in the online segment of grocery, up to probably exceeding 7.5% of all grocery spend within Asia Pacific, which is in many ways embracing it faster than elsewhere. What's driving that growth? Well, broadly, this is around shopper expectations changing. So with respect to price, everybody wants more for less. At the same time, they want increased quality, increased freshness. And of course, this drives issues with the more stock, if you like, that is in various spots, the more difficult that becomes. An increase in choice, an increase in convenience. We want what we want, and we want it now. Speed, personalisation of product, if you like, and that may be both genuinely personal or regional in the sense of different locations, different demographics wanting specific things. Health and the ageing of population, if you like, but also health in terms of a greater desire to see the grocery chain embrace health issues, and information and empowerment. You know, what's the point of micro-fulfillment is about speed, of course, much of what we talked about before. Speed, next day, same day, 1 hour delivery, convenience of being able to get what you want when you want it. And this whole idea of the infinite shelf, the product is always there, almost no matter what I want. And as we see that, I guess the driving of the concept of micro-fulfillment is heavily influenced by the urbanization of the world and the fact that there'll be more people in vastly less space. So one of the concepts, I guess, that Dematic embraces is this idea of micro-fulfillment, which we'll just go through in a little bit of detail as much as we can in a few minutes. The idea of micro-fulfillment, I guess, is centered around what we were calling, I guess, the next generation of urban supply chain. So this hinges around, you know, a supply chain and has several elements. One, of course, a distribution center, a large space based on a hub and spoke, typically fully automated these days. Of course, high capital investment. Dark stores potentially, where there's an ability to have a mix of automation, a mix of labour, and provide some assistance in relatively dense urban areas to be able to pick home delivery or customer pickup orders in a much more efficient way than perhaps doing it just around the supermarket. And then this is where the micro-fulfillment idea comes in, which is essentially around having a small-scale, rapid pick entity to satisfy orders within a defined zone around the supermarket, maybe a larger council zone perhaps. And as you see, there's decreasing capital investment costs with each of those solutions. Sort of looking at the whole solution concept, you see what we have is the idea of the DC supplying the dark stores, supplying the local stores, and a backward forwards between a micro-fulfillment centre. The micro-fulfillment centre effectively being a store with a micro-fulfillment zone sitting at the back of it or within it. And then with our green lines, the idea being that within an area of, say, a couple of suburbs or several suburbs, you might have this location picking direct customer orders and those being distributed directly to the customer, or the customer coming to pick up. The concept of it is it's an order fulfillment warehouse located in the back of a retail store or a building at the back of the store. It assembles e-commerce orders for pick-up or delivery. Generally, you're targeting a pick rate of 1 to 2 hours from order. It's automated, it's high density, it involves goods to person order assembly. You can manage within one concept, single temperature zones or multiple temperature zones, be they ambient, chill, or frozen. Obviously with the appropriate civil works. Grocery management software, of course, is critical to interface to a host. These sort of devices are envisaged to store 8,000 to 15,000 SKUs. Inventory is all stored in totes, and again, 30 to 60 orders assembled per hour. The broad concept of it, as you see, or numbered 1 to 7, is we have 2 ambient DMS aisles. The DMS, in case anyone doesn't know, is D is obviously for Dematic, but it's a multi-shuttle. So a multi-shuttle is an automated system where we have a mini crane, if you like, or a mini automated device travelling up and down the lanes, which pulls in and out the various totes, which are the blue devices shown in the picture. A manual pick area, which is obviously where either products that may physically not fit within a normal tote or be inappropriate to put in a tote would be picked. May also be products that are very high volume and very high turn, for which it doesn't make sense to put into a tote, only to take it out again. A decant replenishment station, which is obviously to fill the area. Then we have, jumping probably to the number 6, we have a goods to person station where the product comes back out of the device, is picked by an individual, and then orders are consolidated at number 5, and we obviously have totes coming. In terms of size, it's specifically designed to fit within a supermarket or within the greater area beside that. It fits into a sort of a 600 odd square metre area, up to 1,000 with all of the bolt-ons. And obviously with the height, the widths, etc., is within a standard building envelope. And that, in summary, is what we do with grocery automation. Thank you very much.
Great, thanks, Greg. That was amazing to see the evolution around those systems and how they all fit together in a really nice ecosystem. And as you described yourself, how companies are really looking to the future of automation to keep themselves competitive and capable of fulfilling the new demands of customers around the world.
Yeah, very much, and the automated solutions are certainly evolving to meet that demand. Yeah.
Great. So following on from Greg's presentation there with the warehousing automation and technology there, it flows beautifully into the next topic, I should say, with blockchain and international trade and how that works with UCot. So what we'll do is we'll cut across now to Hubert, and Hubert is going to talk about how to apply blockchain technology across international trade and how it's really transforming the way supply chain and consumers look for traceability as well. So over to you, Hubert. We'll see you in about 10 minutes.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you, Lawrence. Hi, I'm Hubert Chu. Today my topic is how to apply blockchain technology to international trade with our ecosystem. So I already introduced myself. We not only focus on the blockchain technology itself, but also focus on the community. So we educate people what is blockchain and what the blockchain can bring to our daily life. So today is one application case to the international trade. So first, let's talk about the pain points in international trade. So in traditional international trade, each inspection of the goods consumes time and raises prices. Both the enterprise and the consumer are ultimately victim. So therefore, all parties involved in international trade, including manufacturers, trading companies, transportation companies, and banks, are seeking ways to mitigate the situation, reduce time, and reduce costs. So at this time, blockchain technology can come on stage. The classified accounting based on blockchain technology can ensure that the records are not duplicated, modified, or falsified. This means that the government can better protect the interests of citizens. Business partners can verify the authenticity of the transaction documents. Consumers can also verify the quantity of the provenance of products, and banks can reduce processing time. After all, the procedures are completed through online channels, so there's no need to use paper document. So that is the ultimate international trade powered by blockchain technology. So next, I will talk about how we can help with that. Today, I would like to introduce 6 landed blockchain products, all developed by UCot. So let's talk about it one by one. So all the products are based on our 11 international patents and copyrights. So first, the uTracer. So we say during the international trade along the supply chain, we give each product one ID. Let's say it is a red bottle of wine. We just put every details about the supply chain into that smart tag. Also, when the end user got these products, they can use the app we have developed to scan the QR code or to scan the smart tag. So they will know the whole journey about this product, like from A country to B country at which time. So that makes things easier and also makes the information more transparent. So the second one is we help the company to collect the big data from their clients. So when the end user check the product, whether that is genuine from the manufacturer, the location and the other details about the clients can be uploaded to the blockchain. So our partner, the company, can see the whole picture about their clients. So I think that is another benefit. So the third product is uTracker. So that is can track the temperature, the sunlight, humidity, and many other details in a real-time manner. So we have several trials with the giant companies in Australia for the cold chain. So the second one is, so next one is the blockchain camera. So as the name mentions, when we took a photo, the photo will upload it on the blockchain directly. So we all know that one of the key features of blockchain, that is no one can change the information on that. So we can guarantee that the photo on blockchain is the genuine one. No one can change that. Next one is the blockchain certificate. So we put every details about the certificate on the blockchain. When we got one copy, we just use the phone to put near the certificate, and you can see all the details that's written on the blockchain. So we can help to to solve the problem of the counterfeit certificates and the grades and the other issues. And also, these certificates can be issued to different parties along the international trade to show that they have the right way to process the whole goods. So I want to share the real cases. So one case is UpCare. That is a healthcare company located in Melbourne. So this time we applied the blockchain solution to each of the products. So welcome to scan the QR code and you will know what the blockchain product is like. So we put every detail like the certificate and other manufacturing details on the blockchain. So that gives more transparent information to the clients and also can collect the information about the client in return. And that is another real case in our blockchain camera. So Suzhou is one of the largest cities in China. And in this new year, they applied our UPhoto, that is a blockchain camera, to their city, to let people to experience what the blockchain is like and what the blockchain can help the city. Because when the citizens took the photo will upload it to the blockchain. So again, so that can keep the good memories forever. So that is another use cases. Another case is the product with our U30. So OSM is the world's first blockchain cosmetics brand. So we gave the blockchain certificate for each of their products. So to help the clients get the right one from the manufacturer. So that empowers the value of the OSM. I think that is another way blockchain can bring to the companies. And also we have the trial cases with Coca-Cola Australia and Albert, and also the result is good. So all the patents, all the international method or solutions are provided by UCot. So I will give you a brief introduction to UCot. So we founded in 2017, and since then we focus on combine blockchain, Internet of Things, and big data and real economy to solve the issues on the transparency across the supply chain. And for the past 3 years, we got industrial recognition from both Australia and China. And also, we have been covered in different local and international media outlets. So for the past 3 years, as I mentioned in the beginning, we not only focus on develop the blockchain technology, the blockchain product, we also educate the blockchain idea because we think the blockchain is part of the future. So we all think future is coming. So will you join us? Okay, so that's my email address. If you are interested in our project, just drop me an email. That's all. Thank you. Thank you, Lawrence.
Thanks, Hubert. That's fantastic. I really appreciate showing us all that. And we're seeing a lot of traceability to and importance of provenance around supply chain increasing rapidly around the world, especially again with COVID and pharmaceuticals and medicinal products, also things like PPE, how that's been challenged as well. So look, we're about to kick off to our next presentation, who's in studio with me now, Ben. So we'll just adjust the screen. So we'll actually make sure that we've got our camera going. So Hubert, I think you might just have to stop your screen, but we'll share here. Yep, we're good. Right, bear with us for one moment. And okay, so share screen now. And so over to you, Ben.
Thank you, Lawrence. This is where Madison comes in after all of those nice presentations with blockchain, with automation, and the secure, documentation, all being securely linked together. And my presentation won't be so technical. It's to overcome the understanding of where communications is going and how secure you need to be for cybersecurity threats. Your network needs to be resilient, and asset monitoring and protection. And that's all part of what Hubert went through with UCot. So Madison Technologies has been around for quite a while and worked with telecom back in the day before it was Telstra, and now currently with NBN. We work on various different projects from fiber, copper, hybrid applications, and we're a B2B distributor. So we work with the system integrators. We make things easily connected, and we do training as well for your system integrator. We're, as it says there, we're Australian owned for 27 years. So very good heritage of knowing the market for Australia. Being a holistic approach, we've diversed in different fields. We're across all of Australia and New Zealand with our warehouses. We actively carry stock mainly in our Brisbane office. In Melbourne, we carry a lot of the connectivity products like your copper, fiber, and your switches. And we've also, in our other divisions, we've gone into high-end AV products for panel screens like you see at the football or something like that. Okay, so what connectivity is all about is getting all of those different services that you are looking at of upgrading and making sure they're secure. If they're not secure, you could be hacked, you could have your data taken, you could lose your database, and as you hear in the news, a lot of businesses at the moment are being attacked through cybersecurity flaws. So with secure switches and managed switches, you have the protection and the reliability if you have a detection. This is all of our different industries that we work with currently. At the moment, the government is spending a lot of money in infrastructure, mining, and our core resources. So they're all using our secured switches, and there's a lot of projects at the moment in that field which will go into renewable energy. That's what's happening in our industries at the moment. We're working with other projects from ports to which are for mines, which they use mesh networks. There's all different things of making sure everything's connected. As you can see, councils, you're starting to put in cameras everywhere that need to be connected. So that's where Madison is an expert with connectivity. Okay, so transport, we work with all the different rail, trams and buses and the connectivity of getting them connected. So there's some of the brands that we use with those different applications. And today we'll be talking about Mobotics, Moxa, and Raging. So in these ranges, there's 3 brands covering from mesh networks that's using one SSID, your Wi-Fi name across the entire site. So you can freely move around with mobile devices on Wi-Fi. And it's also going to be used for in those large warehouses where it's a tin shed and you're not getting any mobile phone reception. You can run your own 4G network inside the warehouse. Okay, so cybersecurity. This is where your industrial parts of your applications could be a PLC, it could be a computer on the warehouse, it could be a security camera, it could be anything that is connected to your network. If one of those has a backdoor, then you have your whole network could go down, and you could lose time and money, and you could lose data. So this is where cybersecurity, blockchain, all that comes together. That's another video. Back one. No. Okay, so I'm going to go through that video. We'll go through the mesh network, very similar to cybersecurity. Yep, play the video for that one. Maybe jump out of the actual presentation and click on the video. Up one, yep. Up. Next, 3 and 4. The page, yep. The one, that one. That one. That, yeah. Without this is showing where you have dead spots in a port using different landmarks to connect everything together. have moving objects as metal containers. They block all your communication. So a mesh network, put them on a forklift, and that'll complete your site networking and have everything connected. Moving into robotics is an asset protection monitoring system. They've moved to a system where they're showing where they have introduced applications like on your iPhone, and they've embedded it into the cameras themselves. So you can actually write your own applications built into the camera to report what it needs to, keeping the security within the camera. And if there's any detection that the camera's been hacked into, it can actually lock itself out of the network and then alert the rest of the network that you've had an intrusion. We'll go into the video and it will show you the different types of cameras. There's two types. There's thermal and there's visual. And you can actually overlay them and have thermal over your visual. So you can have a car park full of trees and you don't know if anyone's walking through there in an area that shouldn't have people, like a secured car park. You can actually monitor security visually. Sorry, my videos embedded are not playing properly, but here we go. Very simple video just demonstrating the difference between visual and thermal. And they can actually be overlaid, as I said, but they're showed them side by side just to show you the difference. That brings us to sort of the whole range of the products that we do, where they connect. It's all about connectivity, cybersecurity, working with all of Lawrence's tools out of the toolbox. All of those need to be connected, and that's where we're here to help. So if you have any questions, feel free to contact me after this presentation.
Great, thanks. And I think that that's been a really great way to sort of put an overarching connectivity piece to today's webinar, because what we are doing is trying to bring together all those really important pieces around the supply chain and how it all fits in together. So it's really important that we can demonstrate to everyone involved with international trade how we flow right through from efficiency and technology across the exporter, the producer, how they actually get the documentation through across to the transport warehousing, how blockchain can be utilized across all those milestones as well, and how this technology, even when it gets through major infrastructure, ports, warehouses, to how they all fit together to provide a really important demonstration, if you like, around how technology can really start to transform the supply chain in a really efficient and effective and safe way. One of the things that Ben just touched on there was around the threats, increasing threats of cybersecurity around your business. And unfortunately, it is a way of the new norm, as they like to say, that businesses now, especially in international trade, are very vulnerable to cyber threats and technology risk. So making sure that technology in its own right is fantastic, but it does mean that you need to have the right protection structures in place, the right partners in place to help you. So what we're about to do now, we're going to open up to a Q&A session to the guests on the view. So if you do have anything as well, please send it through and we can put that through to the panelists as you like. If not, what we'll do is we will share that through as well as part of that. As I mentioned at the outset, we will have a recording of the whole webinar available to everyone on YouTube. Making sure everyone can hear us that way. There we go. Hopefully everyone can hear us now. Apologies about that. Okay, so we've got a question, let's see, from Michael, a question for Impexdocs. Are there freight forwarders 3PLs used in your application? Manish or Tejas, would you like to answer that directly?
Yes, a lot of forwarders use our application. They in turn provide value-added services to their clients, which are exporters. So a lot of forwarders use our compliance solutions for health certificates, requests for permits, EDNs, PRAs, certificates of origin. They provide that as a value-added service in addition to providing the forwarding and bookings and other services that the typical forwarder provides. A lot of forwarders like DB Schenker, Inchcape Shipping, Navia Logistics are some of the forwarding customers we already have on our books.
Great, thank you. Thanks, Manish. Do we have any other questions coming through at the moment? Okay, well, sorry, we've got another one coming up through. Yeah. Okay, thanks, Sophie. So I'll just add it to this slide. So Hubert, there's a question there. Are UCot's blockchain solutions being used by Australian businesses as a result of overseas clients demanding the benefits transparency? Or is it more so a case of Australian businesses seeking to use the technology to update their offering? Hubert, would you like to answer that?
Yes. So thank you, Sophia. Thank you for your question. So still remember the cases I put in during the presentation. The UpCare, a company in Melbourne. So he sells the products to China. So during the process, we use the blockchain solution to each of the products, so they can track the whole journey, and also the end user can guarantee we can guarantee the end user to get the real product from the from UpCare. So that is the win-win situation. So we help the company UpCare to get the big data of the client, and we help the client to get the right product from the manufacturer. So that is an example of how we help the Australian business to expand their international business, like in China.
Right.
Cool.
Thanks very much, Hubert. So there's, I know that typically a lot of people are really probably a bit over Zoom webinars at the moment with everything that we've gone through over the last few months. But what I'd like to do is just ask each of you one by one, just to summarise where you see technology going in the future, especially as post-COVID, as they like to say. So I'm going to kick off with you, Manish. What do you see as an evolution? I think with your expertise with automated electronic documentation, you're at the very start of that supply chain transformational piece. Where do you see things heading off in the future, Manish?
Thanks, Lawrence, for the question. It's a very timely question. A lot of things which are going to happen over the next 10 years is going to happen over the next 3 years, all because of COVID. The whole behavior of a lot of people is going to change. And I see UCot as a good example of being the future. Blockchain is something that is always there. A lot of talks, a lot of pilots, a lot of commercial things have, but not real, a lot of use cases, pilot use cases, but not the real things happening. This area, whether it's blockchain or the electronic way of communicating, is going to speed up over the next few years, and COVID is going to bring it for earlier than what would typically would happen over time. So electronic bills of lading is an example where it's a document of title, and it typically is still a paper document going from a shipping line from a buyer country to exporter country to a buyer country, and it's almost like a check, a document of title. A lot of COVID and courier was not being able to deliver documents, and the goods reaching on the other side, but the courier couldn't deliver the documents. The shipping lines took a step forward and decided to talk to their own offices in the overseas country and facilitated the release of cargo. And now a lot of shipping lines are coming together to give an electronic bill of lading solution out there. So there won't be any paper involved, but more of a transfer of title of the goods as the documents go over the water. That's one example. The banks coming together for trade finance and letters of credits. And then similarly, the certificate of origin, the authenticity of the certificate, the fraud element of it, with blockchain underpinning some of these type of technologies. I see over the next few years, all these things coming together, the government to government sharing phytosanitary certificates and health certificates, the chambers of commerce doing certificates of origin, and the shipping line logistics and the banks for the letters of credits. All these coming together for transfer of electronic way of transferring data, and also in a way doing things in a manner which will hasten the speed of globalization and trade finance and trade facilitation.
Great, thanks, Manish. Yeah, I think definitely there is a rapid upsurge in even e-commerce, which I'm going to talk about with Greg in a moment. But as you said earlier, Manish, everything's been brought forward rapidly because of the necessity to get as streamlined, as automated as possible because of COVID. Thanks for that. Greg, can I ask you, Greg? So obviously the automation piece starts as we talked about through early stages in documentation. Have you noticed an increase of queries coming through from in-warehouse automation to things like IoT, blockchain? Have you got more requests from your type of clients, Greg, around integrating more technology across just warehousing and out and further?
Yes, and no, in different ways. So certainly there's a strong desire to have greater sophistication in warehousing automation, whether that necessarily focuses on blockchain or not. But certainly there's a significant increase in inquiry and interest with the various levels of automation that you would have, and in line with that greater sophistication. So certainly when you look into the grocery chain, you know, it's not just about the mechanics of the automation. The mechanics doesn't really work if you don't have the software and the communications and the data flow behind that. So whilst there's also growth certainly and growth in interest in automating, there's a growth in interest in the data management behind that as well.
Right. And could I also ask, Greg, in the past, I mean, having a 3PL background myself, there's always been a nice to have with the automation piece versus a must have. Has that sort of the discussion now changed because of the COVID and the rapid increase in e-commerce and m-commerce, and how companies now to really reposition themselves to be capable of doing the rapid distribution?
There's certainly a little bit of that, and I think we've seen, you know, plenty of growth in that home delivery segment as a result of COVID. So some of those providers, service providers in particular, might be wishing for a continuation. Yeah. So I think, yes, that this what we have seen come to light is certainly that there's a rapid embracing of this idea of the convenience of home delivery or rapid pickup, and you know, we've seen that not just in grocery but certainly in hardware and in other industries as well. And so I think that's something that we certainly see is probably likely to remain even past this period.
Yeah, totally agree. Hubert, I'm going to come back to you, but Tejas, I want to ask you as well, please. So you're across a whole range of supply chain in your background itself, and I know you're working obviously with Impexdocs and Manish, but where do you see things evolving as well, looking at the type of technology that was presented on today's webinar? Are there any thoughts you'd like to add to that?
So to be honest, from my understanding, the blockchain technology is a bit new to most of the people, because we still use time to introduce what the blockchain can bring to our daily life, and also we use most of the time to say how the blockchain can empower their brand. So that is one tricky thing. But I do think the blockchain is the future, because as we mentioned, blockchain, one of the key features of blockchain is no one can change the information on that. So that solves the problem of the trust. So I think maybe we can find a better way to make a balance about the what people believe, what the blockchain can bring to our life, and what's the blockchain technology can bring to their company, and what's the cost and the benefit. So that is still a long way to go.
Yeah, great. Thanks, Hubert.
Yeah, absolutely. So just to add to what Hubert said, absolutely, it will take a bit of time from blockchain point of view. But at the same time, what I do see is the concept of interconnectivity and integration. So now it is expected that everything talks to everything.
Yeah.
So that is a rapid increase at the moment in terms of customer expectation, and the software houses, the consulting houses, they are actually proactively delivering that, and that is something which is already increasing the pace because everybody expects that when I have a system, I don't have to do the same entry again. I'm just simplifying it at a very low level, but the reality is that everything talks to everything is the concept, and it's just going to go like a wildfire now because of customer expectations.
And I think that's probably I'll ask you, Ben.
Yes.
You know, Tejas has brought up that really important point. Customers just expect everything to be connected these days, and that's where that, as you talked about with your presentation, the inherent risk of having that, because everything is exposed, everything from a forklift to
It only takes
camera.
one device to be a leak to the outside world, and they can gain access to the entire network.
Yeah, so it's a real challenge, and that's where your type of products with Madison can not only provide security and insurance, if you like, against
It's
that.
normally intrusion detection, and it's usually done within inside the facility where you have a contractor doing some work. They plug in their computer, and they've got full access to your network. If they're plugged into something they shouldn't, and then that's where cybersecurity kicks in, and can alert people that there's been an intrusion internally.
Yeah, sure.
The other thing that's happening with technology happens with computers, and everyone's heard of Moore's law. Everything's getting smaller, faster, and because things are getting smaller and faster, dumb things like a switch where you just plug in your connectivity, they're becoming embedded, and you can have security built into little devices which manipulate the data before it sends it out to the group, and it can detect if there's been an intrusion locally and then share it with the rest of the network.
Right. So yeah, those are the sort of things that infrastructure, and even with your meshing structures around the ports and other infrastructure, what we've noticed around the world are these pop-up, hospitals, all those sort of things where that may not have proper connectivity or infrastructure in place. So some of the situations where Madison could really create a whole new network out of nothing.
Well, Australia's still rolling out 5G. The reason 4G wasn't really used for industrial network it was focused on broadband. So they use 3G modems. So now with 5G, it introduces not just broadband, narrowband. So you can have small, low-powered devices, miniaturized on a container, and it go off for a month or so with a small battery, and it can be live connected. So you can get temperature readings, and you discussed it in one of your other presentations. If you know that a container has lost power and the temperature hasn't gone low enough, you can save the food or flowers or whatever is in there.
Yeah, and that's things like the IoT devices that that UCot have got access to, and top of those technologies lend itself really powerfully to that. And I think hopefully the audience can see that all the expertise on the panel today has been really complementary, really beneficial to understanding how the new supply chain has I think, as Manish and Tejas talked about, everyone's mentioned, has been brought forward so rapidly because of COVID.
Yeah.
And what I'd encourage all of you as viewers, and I thank you all for being part of today's webinar as panelists, but also to you, the participants who we can't hear, but thank you again for joining us. I encourage all of you to consider your own personal requirement in your business and your organization currently, but also aspirationally. Where would you like your business to go in the future? How can these expert panelists help you, share their advice? They're very, very open and giving and happy to have a discussion with you and see where they're able to help. So we'll have all their contact details available for you. And many of you who are registered already see who they are on all the social media and the tags and links. So I'd encourage all of you to get in touch with them, find out how they may be able to help your business, probably in ways you're not even aware of yet. So definitely reach out to all of them. I'd like to thank all of you, the panelists, for being fantastic presenters and speakers. Sorry, there was a few little technical hiccups at the start, but I think we got through it pretty well. So thank you all. I'll just go around the room and say thanks Ben to my left.
Thank you, Lawrence, for being here. I like the new setup.
Thanks, mate. Appreciate that. Thank you, Tejas and Manish.
Thank you very
Thank
much,
you,
Lawrence.
Lawrence.
Appreciate it.
Thanks, Hubert, up in Sydney.
Thank you, Lawrence. See you.
Thanks, Greg. Thanks, mate, for joining us. And hopefully, once all this stuff settled down, we can all catch up again in person. We'll have a beer after a webinar. It'll be nice.
Indeed, that'd be
Sounds
great.
great.
Yeah.
All
Absolutely.
right, thanks everyone. Thank you for all, and we'll look
Thanks,
forward to
Lawrence.
sharing the
Thank you.
links on the YouTube channel, the YouTube link with you shortly. So, wishing you all stay safe, and look forward to seeing you on our next webinar.
Thank you.
Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much.